Networking Podcast promotes business owners, business experts throughout the world. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people from my unique communication lab in Brazil. Today we talk with Pam Warren, and she's joining us from Mold, Wales. Pam Warren is a change and disruption expert, author, international professional speaker, keynote conference and event speaker. Pam says, fall in love with change. So Pam, how can you spot opportunities and grab them for yourself?
Well, the very first step is always to embrace change. You don't get the opportunities coming at you left, right, and centre until you promote change yourself, which is what I learnt after the train crash I was involved with. You know, in a split second, my life changed completely. I was minding my own business, commuting to London on this train. The train I was on hit one coming out of London at over 130 miles an hour. The fuel tanks behind the engine erupted, and myself and my fellow passengers got caught in the fireball. So I really should have died that day. And when I thought I was going to die, I remember thinking it's not been worth it, meaning my life has not been worth it. And in that blink of an eye, I thought that's the end of my life. I don't think anyone else would have thought any differently. The fact it wasn't, and I then had a long, painful road to recovery. It took over 10 years. The fact that it wasn't the end of my life made me realize that things can change in a split second, right? And it's not always down to you when it changes. One of the things that, I mean, looking back in hindsight, I can now thank the train crash for, is that it knocked me out of my career path, the way I've been brought up, the conditioning I'd gone through my society. It then woke me up to the fact that we're living on this earth, and if you get taken out of the equation, not much changes really. Everything carries on just as it did before. And really, in order for me to survive, I had to learn to accept change very quickly. My life had been trashed in those few seconds that that train crash occurred. I couldn't go back to work. I was physically unable to, and I now suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, which I'll have for the rest of my life. But once I'd accepted change, that's when the opportunities started flowing through. Right. And because I'd been shaken out of the, oh, you need to get a job, you need to do a career, you need to do this, that, and the other, I became more aware of what was around me. And now my philosophy is very much accepting change. The minute it happens, I accept it. I don't question it. Right. You know, if it's something I can't do anything about, I just accept it very quickly. Then I work out what it is I'm trying to get from the change, or what I would like to see from the change. And that's where the opportunity will pop up, and it's always there. And in fact, it's not often a single change. It is more often several, and you then have to make choices as to which change you take. That is also a reason I call myself now the change and disruption expert, because I term myself expert simply because I feel I've walked the walk. I've actually lived it. But also
you survived it, yes.
Yes, and I call myself now a successful survivor. Okay. I've rebuilt my life. I have this new career. But if life gets too boring, or it starts trundling along the same path, I will disrupt. I will disrupt because I've almost become a change addict. I enjoy change. Which,
well, you say fall in love with change. That's true.
Exactly. And personally, I find it really exciting, which is also why in my professional speaking now, that's what I try to inspire in other people. People seem to be quite reticent or fearful when change does happen.
Right.
I think the whole world was when COVID hit.
Right.
But at the same time, if you can accept it within a few seconds and then work out, okay, where do I want to go from here? And then see the path that you want to take, life becomes much simpler And that's what I try to inspire in people, but not just in an airy-fairy way. I give them the things that I have learnt.
Well, I think that's part of what our lives are about. We need to share that. And obviously, I don't want to say you need a train wreck to make change, but I'm a believer that we get one day at a time. We don't get 2 days. We get today. We have today. And the way we use today is what we should be thinking about. And during our today, we may not see them, but there are many opportunities. And most people don't see the opportunities unless, unfortunately, they're a wreck or somebody, brings them to them. But to anticipate change is good.
Absolutely. And to actively seek it out.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that I think everyone should be doing. And to promote it and to almost ask for it. I mean, it's not always pleasant.
Right.
I wouldn't pretend all change is very nice, but it is the way that you take it on board, you accept it, and you are confident enough within yourself to know, I have the tools. I know which tools I need to pick up now in order to deal with whatever is going on around me.
Well, it's sort of like putting on old clothes. If they're too tight, you have to do something. But many times we don't want to do what we know we have to do.
Well, possibly, but also I suppose because of my knowing that life is too short, because I did almost die, I want to be able to get to my next time of meeting my maker, of being able to turn around, look back on my life and say, well, I made a bit of a difference and boy, was it fun. And that I'm absolutely determined to do.
Well, I want to congratulate, because even on your book, a book becomes part of a legacy. And as an author, you've left the book, right? And your book is called Behind the Mask. And that book will be there whenever we are not here any longer. So that is something you've already left for the future.
Yes, and I hope people, if they read my autobiography, I hope it's called From Behind the Mask because I had to wear a plastic mask to save my face.
Mm-hmm.
I lost all skin on my face from the burning. And thank God the mask helped me recover a face. It's not the face I recognize, but it is a face.
Mm-hmm.
And I poured my heart into that book in as much as the first draft I did, my publisher turned around and said, it's in the third person and you're not letting your emotion flow.
Uh-huh.
And it then took me 4 years to really dig deep. So I'm honest in it. And I'm honest about my bad sides as well as my good sides.
Mm-hmm. Well, in any sense, even without the train wreck, we rarely see ourselves as ourselves.
Correct. And nobody shoves a magnifying glass at you.
Right.
So if you like, a book helps you deconstruct yourself and then you have to reconstruct. And that's always where you're seeking to improve.
And in any sense, in today's world, let's say authenticity is a word that needs to be involved and brought into play for anybody.
And humanity. Authenticity and humanity. I wish people were kinder to each other. Mm-hmm. I had high hopes when COVID was going on that far more people's attitudes would be changed. And it is with sadness that I see people reverting back, even governments, reverting back to the ways they were doing things before. To me, that isn't embracing change. You have to seek a better way. There is a better way. I don't know all the answers.
I don't think we need to know, but I think what we should practice, and you do, we are just one of 8 billion. And if we look back and say, what are the other 8 billion doing? Bring it back home. Do what you think is best for you, and do what you think is best for you and others, and just do it. The governments today in the whole world are confused. People are confused. And that's only because of the COVID. When change comes, people become confused.
Confused, and they very quickly become tired.
And defense, they get into a defense mode.
Yes, and that's what I'm seeking to change with my speaking. Right. That's what I'm trying to inspire in people.
So, Pam, thank you. But where can our listeners find you?
You can find me on my website, which is Pam Warren, all one word, .co.uk. I am based in the United Kingdom, but I travel all over the world. So, I mean, that's one of the highlights that came out of the train crash.
Well, very good. Well, thanks for being part again.
Thank you very much, Tom. Have a good day.
Okay, you as well. And for our listeners, it's Pam Warren, Pam. The last name is Warren. You'll find her on LinkedIn and her site, which is pamwarren.co.uk. Pamwarren.co.uk. You also find her book, From Behind the Mask. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.